Hey guys, welcome back to The Poor Investor. Today I'm actually going to be looking at some real estate because I have the day off today. I don't have much going on right now at the moment. It's still early in the morning. So what I wanted to do was go over a few things that I do on some of the websites that, I try to look for some properties. Unfortunately, unlike some of the gurus on YouTube where they say that you try to look for properties off market, do some cold calling, or you send out letters to like homes that look like vacant. Unfortunately, where I try to buy properties, I am not local enough to see where they are run down, in distress, and you want to pick them up for very cheap. In a sense, I'm actually a retail buyer. All right, just like everyone else, whether it's stocks, in crypto, and housing, I'm a retail buyer. For me, there's no way around that. Okay, I don't know of any people that has insider information. You could talk to a realtor. The one way you can probably get a house before it hits the market is if they get an actual listing. What I normally look for, and this was in the beginning when I was first investing in real estate, was I did a 1%, meaning the house had to have made at least 1% each month on rents based on the price of the house. So if, let's just say, a house was worth $100,000, it better make 1% of that, which is $1,000 each month. Now, it doesn't mean it has to make $1,000 each month in profit, but it has to make at least $1,000 a month to cover expenses, mortgage, bills, utilities, and all the other nonsense that comes with owning a house. So I do have a price range of what I was looking for. I've actually purchased houses at all different spectrum of the price range. Maybe not all spectrums, but the lower spectrum. So I've bought houses for like $40,000. I've bought houses for like $50,000, $60,000, $100,000, $110,000, $120,000. And I'm actually upping my criteria now because I feel a little more comfortable. I have a little more down payment money to go towards that house. So I'm looking in the $250,000 range. So I have Zillow up here right now, and I am in Lancaster. Look for sale. Now, here's one thing. When a property gets listed on the MLS, it takes time to trickle down to all the other popular websites like Redfin and Realtor and Rocket. I believe, Rocket started having their own, and then Zillow, and then Trulia. So there are a bunch, and I've gotten so used to Zillow. It's not the best place to look for properties because a lot of times it's not in sync with when properties are already sold or if it's pending. But for in my experience, I've noticed that Zillow was one of the first ones to acknowledge the fact that they get in the actual listings right away. You can see a new listing show up as far as a house, then it'll say like it's been on for like 17 hours or 24 hours, even though it just literally just populated into Zillow. So that just shows that there is a time frame that it takes time for it to sync, and maybe that takes that 24 hours, who knows, right? So here I set up up to $250K. I have Lancaster. I am not just looking in Lancaster, but I do look at the outskirts as well, and I'm just trying to find a property. Not everywhere you go is going to be able to get a 1% on the value of the property. So right now I'm looking in the 250 range, and there's a whole bunch of them. My criteria is I would love for it to have a garage. That'll be a plus. And the other more critical thing is for a fully detached. Now, a semi-attached would be okay also, but a fully attached property, and I'll show you what I mean by that, like a full, this is semi-attached because it is a corner property and it just has, obviously one side of the building. Now, the reason why I don't prefer fully attached or semi-attached, obviously, because you want separation, you don't want noise from both sides, and it's just, I feel personally there's less issues with that. Like, you could have a neighbor. I used to actually live in a house where it was a semi-attached, and the neighbor next door was the child had some kind of emotional issues or whatnot. Every night, like clockwork, this child would just bang on the walls like crazy. And of course, if I'm using it as an investment, I do not want my tenants to go through things like that. or if there's a loud dog that's barking, or just random noises. Yeah, I'm sure if you guys live in apartment buildings or in complexes, you can hear other people. There's chatter, there's a lot of noise that you're trying to avoid. Houses like this, I tend to not be very favorable. Even though if the inside looks okay, you know, it's not too horrible, and there's a nice yard, and there's a garage, and there's parking. You know, there's a few factors that come into it as well. And of course, like, when was it last sold? And you can see, like, you know, the person who bought this in 2007 had kept this for some time and has kept it in really decent condition. And then of course the taxes play a factor of it as well, because you do have to pay that annually. So when you're paying that annually, you have to make sure the rent that you're getting in, and I'll talk about that in a little later video, would be, you know, make sure that how much you think you can get for a place like this to cover expenses plus the mortgage and the taxes, and still be able to profit from something like this. You don't want to come out of pocket too much, because if you do, then what's the point of building a business, right? If you have to come out for the next, let's just say you finance it and you get a mortgage for 30 years and you're coming out of pocket for 30 years, even though you're building equity, if the value of the price goes up, that's fine. You're not making the money and you're losing money every 30 years, like without the time span of the 30 years, how are you supposed to be making any money until you actually sell the property? Because then at that time, 30 years from now, the property will be worth so much more, right? Hopefully, unless the surrounding area drags the whole property down, which is highly unlikely for the most part. In real estate, it just has gone up more and more. If you guys are not familiar, I've been looking like top north, like up here of Lancaster, because if you look at the parallel lines right here, these two parallel lines, that's actually the city, and you can see Lancaster City Historic District. It's really nice there. There's a lot of food, there's a lot of things to do, just Lancaster in general. And then once you come out of the city, and it's just like any other regular city, and once you come out of the city, there's so much farmland, which I'm like impressed with. Some of the houses, the more expensive houses, obviously has everything that I'm looking for, but expensive houses just, in my opinion, you cannot get that kind of rent to pay to justify the value of that house. So in the 250 range and below, I can still get away with. So let me just show you really quickly. Like, these are just random houses I'm just looking at, and you can see by the yard, for the price, it's soothing. You know, some people just prefer this. Now, this is coming from someone who's been born and raised in New York City and just experienced city, Manhattan, New York life in my entire life. Okay, that is something that, you know, you try to want to get away from as you're getting older. So just check this out. So this is an actual beautiful, elegant, situated. I'm not sure. Oh, this is just land. So this is land that you can actually purchase. There's other plots of lands that have already been purchased, and people are building houses on it. You can see all these houses, they look fairly new. Even from a distance in these pictures, it's more modern. It's not those old style homes. And then of course, if you were to build on this, you can see how much open greenery there is, which is amazing. You know, a lot of people are opting to go to these places because it's just more relaxing. Whether you could find work closer to that area, or if you had to commute. Some people do commute a long distance. I know people who commute like 1.5 to 2 hours every day because they want to enjoy, whether it's the suburbs or the more country-like, or just distance themselves from the city, like the banging that's happening right behind me with the hammers and the jackhammers and everything else that's going on, because that building right there out that window is still doing construction, and they're still building what they need. Like, you know, it's gonna go on for like the next year or two, and I can't stop that. And that's the things that I have to deal with living in the city. Now, if you're out here, when you're in the outskirts, so I'm circling here, so I'm trying to stay away from the city, and I just want to show you houses that I personally am looking at, is like things like this for the price. It has a pool. Now, of course, if you're looking into a house that has a pool, there is a lot more maintenance and there's a lot more cost. Unless you're living there yourself, that's okay. But if you're renting it out, your tenants are not going to take care of that. There's going to be grime, there's going to be crap all over it, the water's not going to be treated. They're not going to treat it like it's theirs. So I would stay away from pools unless that's something you really want and you plan on living there. This house in particular is really interesting because the backyard of this house is facing a golf course, which is one of the popular golf courses in Lancaster, which is not too many. So of course you can see the house itself, and I'll show you the aerial view of how that actually looks. It's pretty interesting. I actually like it a lot. I am scheduled to see this house, but I mean, there's gonna be some work that needs to be done. You can see it's not horrible, it's just dated, right? You got these old ovens and dishwashers, and the cabinets just like just screams like 1970s or 60s, right? But that was the style for that area at that time when this was built. So it's some like nostalgic feel to it as well. You can see like how it's laid out. You can see the floor, vinyl floorings. It's I don't know if they still even sell patterns like that. They probably do. I won't be surprised. There's a lot of retro guys out there. And then of course they added a little taste of modern. They got this AC, the ductless AC unit that they installed. Of course that just there's no central air. So you have to take those things into consideration. Ductless units, how long do they last, you know, how much energy does it use? But at the same time, because it's a single family home, the tenants would pay for electricity, gas, all utilities except for the water. The water actually has to follow back the property owner. So of course, look, the bathroom has been modernized. There is some drop paneling, and there's an offset here, so I'm not too sure why that is. But you know, sometimes you just won't be able to get a better feel until you're actually there physically looking at the properties, or you have an agent who's willing to FaceTime you, which I've been doing, because for me to get to Lancaster takes about 3+ hours depending on traffic. So it's not like I can just say, hey, I want to schedule to see this tomorrow and I'll drive down there when I have things to do here. FaceTime has been really crucial, or any kind of video conferencing on the phone has been really crucial for me to see properties outside of New York City. I believe this is floor no, this is vinyl as well. It looks a little funky. I've never seen thing. Carpet. Now, there's a lot of properties that I've came across that still has carpet. There's a tendency that some people like carpets a lot, and you'll be lucky sometimes if you like a house and you actually buy it. There's no carpet. They have already changed it over to hardwood floors or like floor panels, whatever the case. I'm not too keen on carpets, but if it's a rental, I'll have it steam cleaned and I'll do that. And I do have properties where there are carpets. Now, just for me personally, carpets, I grew up with carpets, and at my earlier you know, when I was a child, and then as I got older, that carpet just becomes funky no matter how much you clean it. You can vacuum, you put that little pet odor thing. We didn't even have pets, we use pet odors, because it's just think about like like we were rolling on the floor and dropping food, and foods would just go in between the carpets, and you would have to vacuum like pretty much every other day or daily just to feel like it's fresh, you know. But carpets are really hard in my opinion, and me personally, I would get rid of it. But if it's a rental, some tenants would be stirred away. Like, you know, you might find a good tenant, but then they're like, oh, I'm allergic to this and that, and carpet obviously creates a lot of reaction because it has so much dust and all that, right? So that's something to consider. So there is some cost to that. Bathroom looks like the other bathroom was really nice. This one, you can see it's really like kind of just put together. Like, what is this, right? There's a half shower. This is something unique. It's like a shower tub, but you know, just kind of blocks the water from coming out. It's like a little step-in shower, I guess, for older people. This is the lower level, which you could probably do a lot with. There's a fireplace. So yeah, I mean, and then of course the washer dryer, and I believe that's a dehumidifier, because basements usually get pretty damp and you don't want things to start rusting and kind of corroding. So that's pretty much it. I wanted to go through that. Just wanted to show you guys some of the things I look for. Not just in Lancaster, but I'm looking at places like Indiana, Ohio, Arizona. I'm all over the place. This kind of backtracks to my whole first video that I've done with Rich Dad Poor Dad. You know, I was reading it with my 7-year-old son. He's actually turning 8 soon. And he's, you know, he remembers it even at this age. So I'm gonna probably try to like make him read it again as he gets a little older, maybe like next year, so he kind of remembers it, because those are certain things that I wish I learned earlier investing in prop. I hope that this video can help you guys out, and if you have any questions, please like, comment, and subscribe, and ask me, whether it's here or Discord or Instagram or Facebook. My complete list of social media contact is there. I love talking about real estate. Obviously, I still have Chia. That's a world of its own right now. It's doing what it's doing. I actually opened up my 8 terabyte drive, the one that I had from Costco, and I just filled that up. It did create some heat, but I think it's actually done right now. So again, that is I'm going to show you guys the harvester that's doing that. So that's where it's connected to. Just farming right now. I believe it's done plotting. So of course, I'm going to be putting out more videos if I am looking at a property this weekend. So if that comes through and I get in contract and I actually get the house, oh great, there'll be another video that I'll be talking about. If not, I'll just continue searching. House searching is a mission. Every day there's a new house on the market. Thank you guys for being here again. So please comment, like, and subscribe, and see you again soon. Bye.